our next speaker feels privileged to have the opportunity to enrich the lives of thousands of people by building a great place to work for all that goes beyond creating a positive impact in business performance. Strategic, analytical, highly organized, and detailed at work, she has gained extensive knowledge of best people practices in creating the employee experience for her clients, thus giving her an edge as a thought leader. She is passionate about culture transformation and engaging employees across levels in the organization. She is well adept with the key engagement models in the market. She, her husband Camilo, and their son Joaquin are based in Singapore. A deeply devoted mother who makes parenting the best adventure of her life and the world their playground as their family enjoys exploring the world together. Everyone, let us welcome our next speaker, Miss Tony Talosig. Good
Thank you. Thanks, Kate.
morning.
Hi, good morning, Kate.
Good morning, Miss Tony.
Okay, so let me start sharing my screen. Okay. Kate, can you confirm if you're able to see it?
We can see it, yes.
Great. Thanks again, Kate. Thank you, everyone. Good morning. It's always an honor for me to have this opportunity to speak at Arriva Academy. This is actually my second time. 3 years ago, I got to speak, and I still remember that presentation, and I think, I just wish that I can see everyone's faces right now because it's so different when I'm speaking, just seeing my screen. But I trust that you'll be with me. I'll be sharing a lot about the Philippines workplaces, the insights that we've gathered as we operate in the Philippines Great Place to Work for the past 2 years. So I do hope that you'll stick with me. So the topic today is humanizing the candidate experience. But before that, allow me to talk about Great Place to Work because I'll be sharing a lot of data, and I want you to trust that where the data that you'll be seeing is coming from. So it's important for me to share and to build that credibility about who we are. So Great Place to Work, we do have a social mission, and our social mission is to build a better world by helping organizations become great places to work for all. So as an organization, Great Place to Work has been doing this for over 30 years now, and my team and I, we are very honored that for the past 2 years, we're able to work with some Philippine-based companies to do the same. So we aspire to help create great workplaces for all Filipinos. Besides Philippines, we have presence in 96 other countries. So we practically survey the world. We study, recognize, and celebrate many companies that have high-trust workplace culture. We are most known for the Fortune 100 Best Companies to Work For list that is published in America annually. And we do have a local equivalent for that. That is what we call the Philippines Best Workplaces list. So Great Place to Work, we are the global authority in workplace culture, right? But what does that mean? And what is it exactly that we do? I typically put this into 3 buckets whenever I explain to clients, like, what do we do? Or during speaking engagements like this. So first is that we assess whether an organization's culture is a great place to work. And we do that by using our Trust Index model. I'll talk more about the model later on. So by surveying your employees using our Trust Index model, we're able to find out whether you have a high-trust workplace culture. And then we report it back to you. It's not just about, taking a survey. To us, what's important is that you know what your employees say, because ultimately it is your employees that would say and would validate that it is indeed a great place to work in your organization. So we survey your employees using Trust Index survey, and then we report it back using our proprietary platform, which we call M-Pricing. It's a powerful feedback tool that would give you actionable insights from your employees' survey. What we are really most known for is the recognition, and that's why clients come to us. Like, they wanted this Great Place to Work badge. Ultimately, because Great Place to Work, we are the gold standard of recognition. again, as I've mentioned earlier, started in the US with Fortune 100 best companies to work for list. And with just one application, you will actually be eligible for multiple recognition. Okay? And I am very proud to say that just last March, we announced the top 10 companies in the Philippines that made the Philippines Best Workplaces 2021. And these are the companies, the logos that you see on the screen. What makes me personally very happy about this, that this is just our second year of producing the Philippines Best Workplaces list. And the number of companies that you see on the screen has actually doubled from our inaugural list in 2020, where we only published 5 companies that made it in the Philippines Best Workplaces list. There are now 10 companies. So what this tells me is that there is indeed a growing awareness in the importance of creating high-trust workplace culture in the Philippines. And not just that. If you follow us on social media and our website, you'd also know that just 2 days ago, last Tuesday, we also announced the 2021 Asia's Best Workplaces list. And for the very first time, there are 9 companies, Philippine-based companies, that made it an Asia's Best Workplaces. So there are companies based in the Philippines that are one of the best in the region. And they didn't just made it on the list. They're actually topping the list. Canva, right? Who doesn't use Canva at this time and age? Canva is named number 1 amongst 100 best small and medium businesses for 2021. That's Canva Philippines. DHL Express in multiple markets was named number 1 amongst multinational companies for 2021. And Western Union was named number 1 in 70 best large businesses for 2021, along with the other companies that you see on the right side that are also Philippine-based. So our aspiration is really to have that, Philippine companies not only making it in Asia's best workplaces, but also in the world's best workplaces. So I do hope that by sharing this, it also gives you that Filipino pride that there are companies in our country that are making it in the region as one of the best. So with this, right, how do you create a great workplace? What did these companies actually do that made them become one of the best workplaces, not only in the Philippines, but also in Asia? What makes a great workplace culture? Okay. At this point, really, I wish that I can see your faces and I can just call out people at the, on stage to speak and share. But probably, since I do have given close to 2 hours for this this session, probably can invite you to just share on chat. What do you think makes a great workplace? Or if you feel that you're part of a great workplace culture, what is it about your organization right now that makes you say that it is a great workplace? And maybe Kate, if you can help me read the chat responses, that would be really helpful. Is that okay? Okay. I can actually see the chat. This is great. One says, friendly environment, unity and diversity. That's very important. Safe environment. Yes, especially right now.
Yes.
What else?
There. From Emily, yes, she said friendly environment. And this is from, wait, one moment, sorry. Christian has pandemic programs. From May Ann, open door policy and transparency.
Mm-hmm.
From Maria, never get into a miserable job. From, okay, one moment. From Carissa, good leader.
Good leader.
There. From Mylene, positive workplace and value-based culture. There. One more. From Carla, no politics, open to listen to their employees, provide careers, opportunities internally.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for your responses. So really, what makes a great workplace is unique in every organization. So what you say as what makes a great workplace for you, that is true. It is valid. What I'm going to share is what you're seeing in other organizations, right? But really, just allow me to spark some curiosity here. So what makes a great workplace? Is it the quality of the physical office? Remember those times that we all wanted to work in a well-lit, mga Google kind of offices with lots of perks. I had an opportunity to visit some of the Philippines' best workplaces, Synchrony, and it was awesome. They gave me an office tour. They have a gym. There's a room where people who are part of the band get to practice. The dance committee. So a lot of facilities. So is this what makes a great workplace? When really right now, this is more of how our workplaces look like. Well, at least for me, this is how it looks like, since that I have a son and he gets to work, like do his homeschooling beside me. Or was it, the travel? Remember those times that, like when your manager says that you get to go to the other office in another part of the world, would be so happy, and that somehow makes it a great workplace. But not anymore now, when the current circumstances discourage us from being mobile, and we are stuck for our own good. We've seen earlier that, unity in diversity, right? Is it the camaraderie, the great teamwork, the interaction with friends and colleagues? While at work, or as Filipinos, we love to even hang out after work, especially on Fridays, going out for drinks and having fun with our colleagues. But then again, now with social distance measures in place, even if you're able to work at your office, you are to keep that, social distance measures. So interactions become very limited. And then, of course, the benefits. Good perks like flexible benefits. Some companies would have that, like you can just use an amount of money given to you for whatever you wanted to use it based on your own preference or your own needs. But then right now, and we also saw it in one of your responses, and what's important really is our own health, being protected from COVID-19, not only us, but also our loved ones, our health and our well-being, not just ourselves, but also of our loved ones, become of utmost importance. And we don't, pay much attention to that. So I guess the real question is, how do you create a great workplace experience, and what makes a great workplace culture amidst the pandemic? It's been more than a year. So has it changed? Are the great workplaces pre-pandemic and now, how different is it, right? So with all the changes that we are going through, all the uncertainties, there's one thing that we find that remains unchanged and still is certain. It is what makes a great place to work, and that is trust. Okay. A great place to work, we define a great workplace as one wherein you trust the people you work for, you have pride in what you do, and you enjoy the people you work with. This is actually over a 30-year-old definition of a great place to work. And it's not that we've never revisited it. In fact, we did, and especially last year at the onset of the pandemic, our researchers revisited the definition of what makes a great workplace. And what we found is that it still holds true. And in fact, it is even more important right now during the pandemic that there is trust within the organization. So then, right now, knowing that it is trust that creates a great workplace or gives you a great workplace experience, even when you're working remotely, even when you're amidst a pandemic, what does it actually mean? How does trust look like in an organization? So I want to introduce to you now the Great Place to Work Trust Index model. And I want to spend a bit of time here because this model is very important. It's something that you can also use regardless if you work with us or you don't work with us. So as you can see, the core of the model, again, is trust. That is the foundation of a great place to work. And think of yourself as an employee of your organization. You actually have 3 key relationships in your organization. No matter where you're working, whatever industry, whichever part of the world, there are 3 key relationships that you have at work. And those are, 1, your relationship with your management; 2nd, your relationship with your peers or your colleagues; and then 3rd, your relationship with your work or the job itself. So when we look into a great place to work, we look into these 3 key relationships and we assess them based on the 5 dimensions. So these are the 5 dimensions, the icons that you can see. So when we say that a great workplace, has a healthy relationship between management and employee, what we're actually looking for is there that credibility, respect, and fairness, the top three that you see. Credibility then pertains to employees see your management as credible. And that can be shown in multiple ways. Are they credible when it comes to decision making? Are they credible when they talk to employees about, okay, we're not gonna fire employees, we're not gonna retrench even amidst the pandemic? Their employees actually believe that. Is there two-way communications between management and employees? And it's not just, management speaking, it's not top-down, but actually employees feel that management listens to them and that they seek their feedback and actually work upon the feedback that's given to them. So that is credibility. And then there is respect. And if you've heard me speak before, you've also heard me say again and again that this is actually one of my favorites, especially being a Filipino. At least, the time that, my generation, I'd like to believe even so now, Filipinos, we do have that culture wherein we are actually expected. We are obliged to respect the people above us. We are respectful by nature. And it's deeply ingrained in our culture, even in our families. But this respect that creates a great workplace, it's not just employees respecting their managers. Do you, as an employee, do you actually feel that you're respected by your boss, by your leaders? And you'd feel that in many ways. Like, do you feel supported for the work that you do? Do you think that you're given the resources that you need? That now that you're working, remotely, are you given the resources that you need to remain productive at work? Do you feel that your well-being is looked after? And more than that, do you feel that you are being respected not just as an employee that needs to deliver, but as a person, that I am respected as an individual? So that is respect. And having that kind of respect builds a high-trust workplace culture. And then fairness. Part of that relationship with management is fairness. And of course, this is something that you're almost familiar with, that is equity when it comes to pay, when it comes to promotion. But this also includes factors such as justice. Again, the diversity example that was given earlier by one of the participants. Do I feel equally treated regardless of my age, my gender, my religion, or my tenure in the organization? So that is part of fairness. And also, fairness includes impartiality. The employees feel that there is no backstabbing, no politicking within the organization. And all those, managers, your leaders have very, powerful influence in creating that credibility, respect, and fairness in the organization. So that is when it comes to that first key relationship, management and employees. Then second, relationship with colleagues. What are we looking for? Camaraderie. Is there a team or family spirit? When I joined the organization, I was made to feel welcome. And even when I transferred to another department, I also felt welcome. So that sense of team, having that family spirit, is what camaraderie is all about. And then the third key relationship is pride. Key relationship creating high trust culture is pride. My relationship with my job. Do I feel proud for being a part of this organization? Am I proud of the accomplishments that we have as a team? And even more, do I feel that my job has meaning and it's not just a job, and that I am proud of what we contribute to the community at large and not just within our organization? So credibility, respect, fairness, pride, and camaraderie, these are the 5 dimensions that build a high trust culture in any organization and what makes it a great place to work. So again, ultimately, it is about trust, that quality of relationship that you have. But then now, with the pandemic, right, what we are seeing and what research is telling us is that work from home is actually corroding our trust in each other. This is a research by Harvard Business Review. And so there is actually an advantage in FaceTime interaction. And I think it's very obvious to say that now. We all know this. And it has been taken away from us. And the challenge is for us to find fresh and creative ways to establish or re-establish trust amongst our colleagues. So clearly, there is a trust crisis in businesses today. Okay, so maybe you can reflect right now and see like, do I actually feel this now, or are we on track in establishing or even strengthening trust? But the reality is that globally, with the overwhelming uncertainties that we are all facing, like, is the business still afloat? Will I still have my job tomorrow? And then the constant need to adapt, shifting back to on-site work setup, and then traveling now, and then worrying every day, is it safe for me to travel? Am I exposing my family, my elderly parents? Am I exposing my family, my kids, my baby? And then all of a sudden having to shift back again to work from home. All of this, it is not surprising that having to go through all of this, that the quality of relationships at work are also facing challenges, and some are unfortunately being strained. And we know that it is crucial to build trust, as this article says, from the inside out. If you are to keep your customers or clients, it's important that trust is established within the organization first. It begins with our very own employees. What I'm happy to share, though, is that in the darkest of times, the Philippines' best workplaces reap the benefits of their long-term investment and dedication in building a high-trust workplace culture. So trust is not built overnight. And organizations who've been investing in building credibility, respect, fairness, pride, and camaraderie in their organizations, they're actually reaping the benefits right now. And these are the same companies who thrive amid the overwhelming challenges brought by the pandemic. I need to show data for you to believe me that this is true. And as you can see now, right, on the screen, what I'm sharing is that 95%, almost 100% of employees in the best workplace say that, taking everything into account, I would say this is a great place to work. That is 9 in every 10 employee at Philippines' best workplaces having a high trust culture. And what is even more amazing here is, if you look at this, plus 6%, there's 6% improvement in this particular statement comparing 2020 and 2021. So this tells us that even amidst a pandemic, their organizations, the Philippines' best workplaces, are able to create that high trust culture and make their employees' experience even better. So for those of you who are not feeling this, are not able to resonate, there's hope. Or some organizations are able to do it, and so can you. But if you take a look at it, this 95% is 10% better than organizations who are non-list makers, meaning those organizations that are not named as Philippines' best workplaces. Okay? So with this data, I think what I want to share now is, what do employees from these best workplaces actually say, right? Like, we're just looking at numbers now. 9 in every 10 employees at Philippines Best experience a high trust workplace culture. But it's important for us to hear it directly from employees from those Philippines Best. So I'll give you one example, and these are verbatim feedback from some companies, employees, Philippines Best workplaces. DHL Express, their number 1 Philippines Best workplace, and as I've shared, they're also number one Asia's Best. So an employee of DHL Express highly commends their leaders who look after their well-being. What I know from what DHL Express done is that their leaders actually called their employees one by one at the onset of the pandemic, checking on them, especially those that were, exposed to the virus because of the nature of their work. Again, Canva, we all know Canva. I think majority, if not all of us, use Canva. A Canva employee is thankful for being equipped with the resources they need to be productive at work as they work from home. We do have lots of photos of these Canva employees receiving gift bags, their laptop, even ergonomic chairs, providing what employees need to be productive. But beyond that, if you can read the comment, it also says that we didn't run out of engagement activities, so it was really fun. And this employee felt that that they weren't really away from each other after all. And one more testimony from Synchrony, another Philippines test, is that this employee is thankful for still having their job. So recognizing that Synchrony leaders actually put their employees first. So how do they do this, right? How do these companies actually do it? We now know the importance of trust and what makes a high trust organization. But what do I need to do, right? And especially, I know that I'm in a virtual room with recruiters, talent acquisition leaders. So what is your role? How can you contribute in creating that high trust workplace culture in your organization? And does it even matter, like, given your role, is it important for you, or is it important for you to take part in creating that high trust workplace culture? So what you see now is what we call our 9 practice area, another of great place to work model. Again, a great place to work is one wherein you trust the people you work for, enjoy the people you work with, and have pride in the work that you do. Again, the foundation is trust. What we found is that managers actually have slightly different definition of a great place to work. And I'm sure there are people, managers in this room, and you would know that it's because you do have a different set of responsibility. You as a manager, you don't only deliver, but you need to deliver successfully to your people. So from a manager's perspective, a great place to work is one wherein you achieve an organization objective with people who give their personal best and work together as a family, all in the environment of trust. Again, trust is a key word. And how do you do this? So the way that this wheel works is that to achieve organization objectives as manager, you should be able to inspire your employees, be able to speak, and speaking again is 2 ways, right? Like just talking to your employees, but actually listening to them. Here, third point here is listening. And doing that with people who give their personal best by caring for them. You encourage people to give their personal best if they see you as a caring leader, if they know that you're invested in their development, not just for the role, but also their development as a person, as an individual. What is their passion, right? And being supportive of that. And thanking them, appreciating their contribution, not only their contribution to your department, but their contribution to you in your relationship with them as a manager. And you're able to create, a family and team spirit by starting with hiring, right? And this is where you all come in. Hiring, creating a great workplace culture starts with hiring the right people. And then you get to celebrate with them, and then you share with them, the benefits of being part of the organization and what you've accomplished together as a team. But ultimately, key takeaway in this slide is that creating a high trust workplace culture starts with your hiring practices. Now, there are top 3 best hiring and onboarding practices that we learned, not just from Philippines Best, but this is from 100 best workplaces in the US. Okay, so best workplaces, they know the importance of hiring for culture fit. They also know that an employee's first day experience, can shape their relationship with organization for the long term. So hiring right people and bringing them into the organization authentically and effectively are essential component of building that trust that you need in the organization. So what are these top 3 best hiring and onboarding people practices? I would guess that most of you already at least know these phases that you do in your recruitment practices. But these are the key 3, I would say, situations or practices that are very impactful. So of course, number 1, interviewing and hiring for best fit. So the essential first step in growing and maintaining a powerful workplace culture is hiring the right people. So it is important for you to establish consistent interviewing and hiring processes that can make a big impact. So best workplaces, they use innovative approaches to get to know their candidates in new ways, so beyond their technical competencies. So it's not just about hiring because they have the competencies that you need, but you spend time to get to know the person. Again, it is relationship, it is trust building, So you need to get to know the person, right? It just sounds like any other relationship. You need to get to know the person. Number two, creating a unique, welcoming experience. This is also very important. And oftentimes, right, we welcome a new hire once they started on the very first day. But best workplaces, they don't do that. They start making employees feel welcome even prior to joining the organization. So once you've identified the right employees to join the team, your work has only just begun as recruiters, as talent acquisition leaders. Finding the right person is just the beginning of your work. Best workplaces, they put a lot of effort into welcoming new employees with intentionally designed initial experiences. So for example, from their very first day, employees are introduced into not only their functional roles, but also to the culture of the organization. And it is not uncommon, as I've said, for best workplaces to reach out to employees well in advance of their first day and welcome their families into the culture as well. So it's not just welcoming the employee, but also welcoming their families. Best workplaces emphasize on personal touch and desire to connect to the employee, to the organization, and with their peers in a meaningful way. So no one best workplace that would actually, visit, and this was pre-pandemic, obviously, visit the candidates or the new hires house to get to know the family as well. And then third is providing robust onboarding programs. So after your new employees are selected and welcomed, best workplaces provide a comprehensive approach to supporting them through the first period, which is practically the first 90 days in the organization. So they have comprehensive onboarding programs to provide new employees with the information and, of course, the confidence that they need to step into their role, both functionally and, keyword, culturally. It is important that they integrate into your culture. So the emphasis is not just on technical skills, but on behavioral expectations as well. They provide opportunities for employees to network, not just within their team or department, but to network cross-functional as well. So they give them that cross-functional exposure. Okay? So with all these three best hiring and onboarding practices, what is really the key metrics that we wanted to see? What we wanted to see is for your new hire to feel that they were made, that when they join a company, they were made to feel welcome. Okay? So when you join the company, you are made to feel welcome. So we've all had our first days in the company where we're working for now. You can probably reflect now and see, like, how was it like when I joined? Did I actually feel welcome during that point? And this particular statement, this is one of the 60 statements. Remember the Great Place to Work Trust Index survey? When you join the company, you are made to feel welcome. It's one of those 60 statements that we ask companies that we evaluate. Okay? So this is a very important statement, particularly for new hires. And what we learned from our 2021 Philippines study is that even this particular statement, right, 96 or close to 100 new hires or employees, such as new hires, employees in that organization, they actually said that, yes, they were made to feel welcome when they joined the company. And again, despite the pandemic, despite feeling, working remotely, there is a slight improvement in employees' responses. There's 2 percentage points improvement over Philippines Best Workplaces 2020 study that we did. And this average is also 6% higher than the Philippines average. Philippines average means, all companies, all employees that we surveyed in the country, right? So honestly, I feel like in the Philippines, it's a plus factor that we already have, that we're very warm by nature, right? So, and that helps. And I'm saying that because if we compare these scores in other countries, even in Asia, or even the world, even more so, like these scores are coming out high in the Philippines as compared to other parts in the world. But the point is that what I did is actually I dug into this deeper. I asked myself, like, okay, almost 100% of new hires in Philippines' best workplaces, they say that they were made to feel welcome when they joined the company. I'm sure there are many factors that contributed to that. And as I look into the data, I wanted to answer that question. I wanted to find out what are the things that make new hires feel welcome when they join the company. And there are three themes that came out. And, I've been speaking for 30 minutes now. If there's one slide that, I would want you to get, I think this is one of those. These are the three things that influence an employee's perception of feeling welcome when they join the company. Employee safety and well-being, sense of purpose, camaraderie, and belonging. These are the three factors that most strongly impact your new hire experience. Remember earlier, there's interviewing, there's welcoming, there's onboarding. In all those three, what your employees want to know, your new hires want to know, what they want to experience are these three things. That their safety and well-being are looked into, that they do have a sense of purpose in their new job, in their new role in that organization, and that they are welcome. There's that sense of belonging that they experience when as being part of this new family that they are joining. Okay? And then, of course, I went further and looked at the data, and I wanted to compare how employees at Philippines Best experience these three things as compared to employees in other organizations. And this is what I found. How do you read this chart? The reds are the companies, the Philippines Best, the top 10 Philippines Best companies. The black bar represents the Philippines non-list makers, meaning those companies that are not part of Philippines Best. And of course, across all, we can see that Philippines Best workplaces outperform other organizations. So as a recruiter, talent acquisition, you are competing against each other, right? There is that market talent pool that all of us are competing against. And of course, if you want to compete with, if you want to have the best talent that there is, these are the things that you need to look into. Employees' safety and well-being, creating that sense, establishing right from the beginning that my job, it's not just work, it actually has that special meaning. And it doesn't start when the employee meets the manager. It starts when the employee meets the very first person that represents the company, which is you, right? Establishing it right from the beginning, this is what we do, this is why this organization exists, and this is also the reasons why we want you as part of it. Giving that sense that their work has a special meaning and it's not just a job. And then, of course, establishing that camaraderie and belonging, making them feel that people care about each other here and that they can be themselves in that organization. And again, it starts with the very first interaction that they have, which is with you. So now, seeing all this data, what then can we learn from Philippines Best Workplaces in humanizing the candidate and new hire experience? So I've been sharing again and again, of course, Philippines Best Workplaces, they outperform other organizations in the country. We've seen what their employees are saying. We saw the data itself. What can we learn from them? I want to share two case studies at this point. First is with S&P Global Philippines. So S&P, those of you who are in stocks, trading, you would know S&P. They deliver data, research, credit rating, benchmarks, and ESG, which is environmental, social, and governance solutions for governments, companies, and even individuals like us, like those who are getting into stocks, into trading. So S&P, they are a 2-year Great Place to Work certified companies. They were also ranked number 4 in Philippines Best Workplaces 2021. And recently, again, just last Tuesday, they were also named number 25 in Asia's Best Workplaces 2021 MNC category. Okay, and as you can see, there's been 9 in every 10 S&P Global Philippines employees say that they have a great workplace experience in the organization. Okay, close to 100% of their employees say that they have a physically safe place to work and that they are given the resources and equipment that they need to do their job. So what can we learn from them? At the onset of the pandemic, S&P Global made a call. They need to reimagine how they work in the organization. And they started by introducing a work from home promise and commitment to their employees. It includes, I promise to take care of myself, I promise to put people first, I promise to support flexibility, and I promise to stay connected even working remotely. So to ensure that their employees are well supported while working remotely, immediately S&P provided tools and equipment they need, including ergonomics training, to help employees do their work from home setup. And in terms of recruitment, right, what they did is that they honored their commitment to their new hires, even during the lockdown. So there were some that were impacted, they were not able to start on time. And what they did is that they still included them on the payroll, even if they were not able to start officially. Like they were employed officially, but they're not really reporting to work because of government restrictions. They still honored the agreed start date. And of course, to ensure that everyone's well-being are prioritized, they extended COVID-19 related HMO, medical benefits, to patients and their families as well. So that is S&P Global. Another example that I may share, Synchrony Global Services. Synchrony, number 2, in Philippines Best Workplaces 2021 list. They are also 2-year consecutive Great Place to Work certified. And recently, they landed on the 13th spot on the 2021 Asia's Best Workplaces MNC category. Okay? And what we find here is that 95% of employees, like if you round it off, like 100%, 95% of employees at Synchrony Philippines say, and they have about over 3,000 employees, they say that they're having a great place to work, great workplace experience at Synchrony. 98%, close to 100 of their employees say that they were given excellent support during the COVID-19 crisis. And close to 100% also say that they will strongly endorse Synchrony to their family and friends as great place to work. I think that's something that all recruiters, talent acquisition leaders would want to hear. You know, like it's coming from employees themselves. It would make our lives easier to find the candidate that we need. If employees themselves are being the ambassadors that we need for our organization. So how do they do that? Like S&P Global, recruiting was reinvented at Synchrony. And they, of course, leverage on being known and the culture that they already have. Synchrony is known by their employees as a company that cares. Leveraging on that, they've reinvented their recruitment process. Okay, so again, we all know that even a company with many accolades, such as Synchrony, was not spared from the impact of the pandemic. In fact, it is companies like them that really felt the pressure to be agile, adapt quickly to the changing landscape. And so they reinvented their recruitment process, leveraging on their very nature as a company that cares. So at the onset of the pandemic, they had around 800 new customer service and collection representatives join them. And it was a challenge for their Philippines team. They are a BPO, didn't work remotely in the past. It was a big challenge. And so that's why they had to reinvent what they're doing. And so the Philippines talent recruitment team, as the country was facing strict quarantine, lockdown due to the pandemic, they had to be agile and to immediately make operational changes given the shift to remote work. So they started by leveraging their partnerships with search firms, various online job boards, and using employee referrals as source for potential candidates. And then they introduced a new onboarding process, basically cutting of course, making it virtual, and then cutting the process shorter so that the candidate can be onboarded and be part of their Synchrony community. So the new process ensured that candidates are processed in a timely manner based on a new recruiting timeline. So this timeline, for example, included something that would allow the talent recruitment team to get employee ID numbers earlier than how it was pre-COVID-19 period, so that IT and facilities can immediately set up, configure the workstation, send it to the residences of the newcomer so that they can have it a couple of days prior to joining, making sure that they have the tools, the equipment that they need on their very first day, and not disrupting the training or onboarding plan given to them. So, being a company that truly cares not only for their employees but also for the community, Synchrony also extended their support to local hotels and restaurants in the industry, which was badly affected by the pandemic. So they gave their job vacancies to these hotels and restaurants just in case that they may have displaced employees who might be interested in a customer service or collections job. Okay. So what struck me the most in Synchrony's story is that employees would go the extra mile and do whatever it takes to help the business afloat. When you know as an employee that your company cares for you. So when your employee knows that they care for you, they will go the extra mile to do what's best for your business as well. So those are two case studies. And here are some more examples that I can provide. During recruitment, how do you create an exceptional candidate experience? Provide resources or information to prepare your candidate prior to your meeting. They just have a chat. Make sure that the candidate is also comfortable using Zoom meeting. If there's, being in the Philippines, like if there's strong internet access, like if they're preferred, if you have flexibility, like being willing to use whatever platform is available or convenient for your candidate, then recreate that on-site experience as much as possible. Some companies would send, like materials, a care package to a candidate. That's not even a new hire, even before the interview. So remember those times that it's face-to-face interview, and then you hand over a brochure or you hand over a pen, a notebook to your candidate. You can still recreate that by sending those care packages to your candidate. Be transparent about your workplace culture, not just now, but even how it was pre-pandemic. So, both pre-pandemic and how it is now. I'm sure organizations are going through different things, and being open and transparent about the current culture, not just how it was, the nice ones, the comfortable times, would be very meaningful for your candidates. Offer a virtual office tour and provide opportunities to get to know the team. So, office virtual tour, I think this gives the candidates that sense of hope that soon you're going to come back to that on-site setting. And this is our home. This is our office space, and this is where you'd be. You can do it through videos that you have, or if you're able to work at the office, just giving them that tour or sharing photos. And then, of course, creating that opportunity for them to get to know the team. And that's like having casual conversations with another team member so that they know the culture, not just from your perspective as a recruiter, but also from someone who's really inside their team. Get to know them personally, their family, their home situations, as I've shared earlier. There are best workplaces who would get to know, would speak with family members even before they're onboarded, just so that they also know and understand what are the options that that their like son, daughter, sister, their family member is considering. And then, of course, how do you create an exceptional employee experience during onboarding? Get the organization excited about your new hire, right? Engage via the virtual office tours and get to know the new hire's family. Another Philippine best workplace does this. They send the family to the office. So they hire from the province. So they would cover for the cost, the hotel of the new hire's family, bring them to Manila to get to know the CEO and the HR head and the team. So that they give them a tour of the office space as well, so that they know, that they're part. It's not just the employees, part of the company, but also their families. Of course, you can't fly someone to your office right now, but you can still do that again virtually. Assign a new hire buddy. I think this is something that is quite common. Continue doing that. Encourage virtual coffee meetings, so not just formal conversation. And now that, given the current situation, the one-on-one meeting with managers should also be doubled up, having that more face time. Create an ERG employee resource group made up of first-year employees so that they know that, they can speak with someone who's going through the same thing as they are. And celebrate each milestone. Leverage on your platforms. You have Teams, if you have WhatsApp, Viber, use that. Leverage on those to post a shout out on your communication tool about the milestones that your new hire is facing. Okay? So what have we established so far? A great workplace is one where you trust the people you work for, have pride in what you do, and you enjoy the people you work with. Great Place to Work certified in Philippines best workplaces clearly outperform organizations in having a high trust, high performance workplace culture. And any organization can build a high trust, high performance workplace culture, even yours. 96% of new hires at best workplaces, they say that they are made to feel welcome when they join the organization. And what influences that perception is employees' experience around safety, having sense of purpose, experiencing camaraderie and belonging. So these are the three key factors that most strongly impact your new hire experience. And by humanizing the candidate hiring and onboarding experience, you as a recruiter, as a talent acquisition leader, you are actually creating a high trust workplace experience for your new hire and for your organization. Now, knowing all this, is it all worth it? It doesn't happen overnight. A lot of investment of your time and resources, and your role is key. But is it all worth it? Why do we need to do this? What are the benefits then of investing in a great workplace experience, starting with your candidate and new hire experience? Okay, here are some of the benefits. Before that, I want to establish this, and I think all of you know this by now. If you are Gen X like me, you would know that recruitment process, both from the perspective of the candidate and an employer, I used to do recruitment as well, it's very much different from how it was 15, 20 years ago. Because of social media, your employer brand is now more significantly important, just like, if not even more than your consumer brand. And what research shows is that 75% of job seekers consider your employer brand before applying to you. So those companies who intentionally build their employer brand would benefit from the rest. What we've also seen is that best workplaces, they have 250 times more job applications than the rest. Their employee referral program is 3 times more effective than in other organizations. Again, I think this is something that we all want to happen, like employees themselves being ambassador of our company, because they're already there. They know the culture, they know what it takes to be there, they know how to be successful, they know who to hire. And so it is important to have that employee referral program that works for you. And being in a great workplace, having that culture of trust, an excellent employee experience, that is the best way for you to trigger your employees to look for that next candidate that you need. And of course, what we found is that with these advantages, companies with a strong employer brand also enjoy 50% less cost per hire. So that's a lot of savings. But let's look at it, something closer to home. Data that we just launched last month. We launched a case study with Ingram Micro, who's also one of the best workplaces in the 2-year Great Place to Work certified company. We have this case study, and you can access that case study from our website. In fact, even the Philippines Best Workplaces Insights report, they're all free for you to download it on our website. And what we learned from this case study with Ingram Micro is that from the moment that they were announced to be one of Philippines' best workplaces, their job application increased by 40%. Right? And Sam White, Ingram Micro's Philippines HR leader, shared that there were the day after that it was announced, just that time, there were about 100 candidates going to their office on site post the announcement, applying for a job at Ingram Micro. And what's even more impressive is that 100% of these candidates refer to Ingram Micro as being a great place to work certified as their reason for wanting to join the company. So if, whatever, methods you do it, I'm sure there are many different methods. Investing in your employer brand humanizing that candidate experience by connecting to your candidates, not just in a basis of making them feel that they do need a job, but it's also connecting with them on a personal basis. It pays off. And and again, what makes a great place to work is trust. And creating a meaningful employee experience, starting with your candidate experience, is key in building a great place to work for all. And again, as you've seen earlier, it starts with your role as recruiters, talent acquisition leaders, to create that great workplace experience for your new hires and to establish that trust with the new people that you're bringing into your organization. So then I'm wrapping up with this. Do join us. I'd love to hear your stories. I'm sure there are other stories in your organizations and how you create that great workplace experience. And as I've said, we do have a social mission. Join us in making great places to work for all in the Philippines.